Canelo Alvarez, he wanted a comeback fight, right? And the comeback fight really was not like a headline event. It was just, if I get beat, I want a chance just to have a quick win and then go into a big fight.
Right there. Is that knocked out? Yes, it is.
What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at the statistics that nobody talks about. And we're mentioning this weekend's fight at 168 pounds between Edgar Berlanga and Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. Could you please do me a couple favors right now? My YouTube analytics tell me that 80% of you are watching my content and you haven't hit subscribe yet. Could you please do that? As well as like this video and hit the bell notification button. What both of those allow me to do is every time I put something out that's new, you'll be the first to be notified, as well as it'll put my video closer up to all the people who love boxing content and help spread our reach. Really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, guys, this weekend we have the return of Puerto Rican superstar Edgar Berlanga. This is a guy that started his career with an impressive knockout streak. And we know boxing's a sport to where when they love you, and when they don't love you, they don't. But Berlanga is coming off the first loss of his career. This guy was taking heat from the media when he was undefeated and winning fights by decision because he started off on such a hot knockout streak. Fans and the media just expected him to keep knocking people out. But we know the better you get, the longer you're in the sport, the more higher competition you're going to fight, and this was the case with Berlanga. That roadmap eventually led him to an undisputed world title shot against none other than boxing superstar, Mexican great Canelo Alvarez. We watched that fight last September. Berlanga lost pretty much every single round, but through his grittiness, through the way he fought, his stock did rise with the boxing community. He did a media tour after he lost that fight. No matter if you liked it or you disliked it, his stock has grown, his social media presence has grown, and this has led him to his next fight. A lot of you guys might not know who Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz is. I had to refresh my memory. This is an undefeated 35-year-old Puerto Rican fighter, but I remember him from over a decade ago. Now, my hometown, which I left in the early 2000s, is a boxing town, Youngstown, Ohio. We produced world champions like Ray Boom Boom Mancini. One of my childhood best friends was Kelly the Ghost Pavlik, and one of his sparring mates when we were kids was a kid named Billy Lyle, who became a professional. He fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. to a really close fight. His nickname was the Pride of Ohio, Billy Lyle. And I remember back in the day, he fought this guy, Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz. This was in a different weight class, and it seemed like Ortiz was on this trajectory to becoming a household name, and he just disappeared. And I've done my due diligence. I couldn't find a specific reason or a specific article speaking about why he took over 10 years off from the sport. It's hard to find anything on this guy. I couldn't even find a legit Instagram profile for this guy. So a lot of us were asking, why would Berlanga, his next fight, be against this guy? So I wanted to play an interview from yesterday of Eddie Hearn, Matchroom CEO, the brass behind Berlanga's fight with Canelo and his current contract situation, and listen to Eddie Hearn's description on why Berlanga chose to fight Gonzalez Ortiz.
Canelo Alvarez, he wanted a comeback fight, right? And the comeback fight really was not like a headline event. It was just, if I get beat, I want a chance just to have a quick win and then go into a big fight. So in Edgar Berlanga's contract, there was a provision for a comeback fight on an undercard in a straightforward fight. Okay, when he fought Canelo and did really well, and you know his profile rose, we then spoke to Edgar Berlanga and Keith Connolly about the possibility of headlining in Puerto Rico. We tried to do a different kind of deal. We spoke to DAZN. We ran out of time. So in the end, it was like, we're out of time. Let's just revert to the contract, get that one done, and then we'll move into a big fight. So when people say, is there a fallout? There was probably 24, 48 hours of, oh, fuck it, like, you know, like,
I'm a free agent. And
yeah, but he's a free agent after this fight. And if he does want to go elsewhere, we've done the most incredible job for him. I'll shake his hand and I'll say good luck. I hope he spends the rest of his career with Matchroom. But what we're doing is we're honouring our contract instead of not giving him a fight and it all, mixing up. So it's not.
All right, so hopefully that makes a lot of sense to you. It helped clarify a few things with me. I didn't know that it was in his contract obligations because he isn't the main event this weekend in Orlando. Like you heard Eddie talk, he's on the undercard. He's the co-feature in the Ammo Williams feature fight against Volney. So in this video, we're gonna remind everybody, educate everybody who Edgar Berlanga is, who his opponent is. We're gonna talk about what they've been up to, the pros and cons. We're gonna talk a little bit about what Las Vegas is saying this fight, and stay tuned to the end for my prediction as well. Let's get started. Now here's a little bit more info about this fight and this bout. Guys, Edgar Berlanga, 22-1 with 17 knockouts, is gearing up to face unbeaten Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz, 20-0 with 1 draw, 16 knockouts, this weekend, March 15th, live on DAZN from the Caribe Royale in Orlando, Florida, on the undercard of Ammo Williams versus Patrice Volney. For Berlanga, this will be his first fight since his unanimous decision loss to Canelo on September 14th, the first defeat of his career. A respectable effort, he was clearly outclassed with the judges scoring a 118-109 twice and 117-110 in favor of Canelo. A victory in this bout could position Berlanga for a major fight in his next outing. The bigger question is why Berlanga has been relegated to the undercard. We just heard Eddie Hearn talk a little bit about this. Some more details says that while an unbeaten opponent was secured for him, Gonzalez Ortiz is 35 years old, lacks experience against world-class competition, and is returning from a decade-long hiatus. Berlanga's promoters at Matchroom appear to be taking a cautious approach following his loss to Canelo, easing him back into competition with Gonzalez Ortiz before matching him up against top-tier opponents in the near future. Berlanga being paired with this level of opposition suggests significant concerns with his management team. There wouldn't be a need to step him back this far unless his promoters or handlers had doubts. Securing a victory in this fight is crucial though, as they aim to build him back for huge fights in the near future, possibly with Caleb Plant or, in Berlanga's eyes, another fight with Canelo. Ultra hardcore boxing fans who have followed the sport for the past 10 to 15 years may remember Puerto Rican native Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz, who was steadily rising through the ranks from 2009 to 2014. Before his abrupt exit from the sport in 2014, he had secured victories over notable names such as Derek Ennis, Serhi Dizenruk, Billy Lyle, Richard Gutierrez, and Rogelio Porky Medina. While seasoned fans recognize these fighters from the pre-2014 era, Gonzalez Ortiz's sudden departure from the sport 11 years ago remains a mystery. That said, given today's boxing landscape, where fighters in their 40s and 50s are still competing, 35 isn't necessarily too old. So guys, when we look at Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz's career, we know that he's taken a decade off. We've already talked about that multiple times in this video, but I want to talk about he's never fought at 168 pounds. Of his 2021 career fights, he fought a few times at 162, but he started his career in the 140s. So this fight at 168 will be his first fight there. We know Edgar is going to want to go in there and put on a show. He's probably going to want to get him out there quickly. Let's take a closer look at what Las Vegas tells us these odds are. Currently, guys, Edgar is $1.07, meaning if you put $100 on Berlanga, you get $7 back. Gonzalez is a 10-1 underdog. If you put 100 on him and he wins, you get 1,000 back, and it's 26-1 on the draw. 100 gets you 2,600. Right now, this betting app that I use down here in Australia, Sportsbet, doesn't have any match or prop bets. If that changes closer to the weekend, pay attention to the channel. I'll put them on our community section portion of the channel. But right now, you either take Berlanga or you take Martinez outright on the money line. Look, it'd take a brave soul or somebody who's just a Berlanga hater to really pick Gonzalez Ortiz in this fight. We know what this is. This is a fight to get Berlanga back on track. For me to say that Berlanga is going to go in here and have a flat performance, I'd be shocked if he did. Now, he is fighting an undefeated fighter. He's also a fellow Puerto Rican, so there will be pride in this matchup. I don't think Gonzalez is going to go in there and want to lay down, but I just think Berlanga is going to be too classy, too young. Look at their career trajectories. We know what this fight is. Berlanga is supposed to show up and knock Gonzalez out. I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I watched highlights from Gonzalez's last fight against a guy I never heard of. didn't really look like a guy that's going to challenge for a world title. Maybe he just wanted to come back from the sport after a decade and prove something to himself and his family. I'm predicting an early night for Berlanga. I expect him to knock this guy out in the first few rounds. We'll say rounds 1 through 4. This fight doesn't jump off of the paper, but what I'm trying to do more and more on my channel is to feature all fights throughout the year, not just the big pay-per-view ones. Stay tuned to the channel because I'm going to be going over the card in 2 days. Wednesday night boxing here in Sydney, Australia, headlined by Keith Thurman and Brock Jarvis. I already gave you my breakdown of that video, but today I'll be releasing my fight prediction. I'm also going to feature an undercard fight on that card between Matteo Tapia, and this guy is a hot prospect ranked in the top 15 in the world, so stay tuned to that. In the comment section below right now, does Berlanga win this fight? Does he win by knockout? What do you make of this matchup? Leave all that in the comment section below.